I am grateful to be back here in Lebanon, but I have to admit that I'm saddened to bear witness to the pain of its people and what they're experiencing. And I have to admit, this is a really heartbreaking moment for me to be here in Lebanon. The people of Lebanon, like everyone in the region, just want to go home, build a peaceful, secure, and safe and prosperous future for themselves and their families. This is my 6th or maybe 7th visit to Lebanon in the past year. And while we spent 11 months containing the conflict, we were not able to resolve it. In each of my visits, I cautioned that the situation was urgent and the status quo was not sustainable. We were either going to reach a solution or things were going to escalate out of control. I stood at this very podium, time after time, including as recently as August, and cautioned about the urgency. A resolution was possible, but it was rejected, and the situation has escalated out of control as we feared that it could. And I want to be very, very clear. Tying Lebanon's future to other conflicts in the region was not and is not in the interest of the Lebanese people. As President Biden said, our goal is a comprehensive agreement that implements UN Security Council Resolution 1701 and ensures this conflict is the last for many generations. 1701 was successful at ending the war in 2006, but we must be honest that no one did anything to implement it. The lack of implementation over those years contributed to the conflict that we are in today. That must change, because both sides simply committing to 1701 is just not enough. So I'm back here in Beirut today for discussions with the government of Lebanon, the Lebanese armed forces, other political leaders, and frankly, anyone else who is willing, able to play a critical role in setting Lebanon on a new course of strength, security, and stability, and ultimately economic prosperity. I just had a very constructive meeting with Speaker Berry, and I thank him for the detailed conversation that we just held. The government of Lebanon and all its leaders will need the world's support, and the United States and our partners are committed to supporting them. Lebanon's government can and should provide for all of the people of Lebanon, and to do that effectively, it will need to put its people's needs first. The world will stand by Lebanon and its leaders if they make the brave and the hard choices that are required at this time to benefit all of the Lebanese people. We're committed to the Lebanese people, and we are committed to Lebanon's future. And that's what I was here to talk about today. May God help and protect the innocent people of this region. Thank you.
Mr. Hochstein,
Linda.
No one in Lebanon believes that United States cannot make pressure on Israel to ceasefire. So my question for you becomes, why U.S. not putting enough pressure on Israel to ceasefire, to not ask why U.S. don't want that ceasefire?
Well, the United States wants to end this conflict as soon as possible. That's what President Biden wants. That's what we all are working towards. And what I just said, what we're working with the government of Lebanon, the state of Lebanon, as well as the government of Israel, is to get to a formula that brings an end to this conflict once and for all, that puts the mechanisms in place that will enable this conflict to not just be over today and start again next week or next month or next year, but rather will be over, so that everybody can go home and know that we are on a new era of prosperity. That is what we're working to achieve, and we're trying to get that done as absolutely as quickly as possible.
Renwa.
So since you talked about amendments to 1701 to verify its implementation, we need to know what are exactly these amendments and how do you think the Lebanese government would react to them based on your meeting with the Speaker of Parliament?
The commitment that we have is to resolve this conflict based on 1701. That is what the solution is going to have to look like. To do that, we have to make sure that all sides of this conflict know that it's 1701 is actually going to be implemented. As I just said before, there is no one who can look at the last 18 years and say that anyone did anything to implement 1701. So we have to put things in place that give the people of Lebanon and the people of the rest of the region and the supporters of Lebanon the confidence that things would be different this time. Saying it, when people say, no, we are committed to 1701, that's what everybody has said since 2006. And yet here we are, where nothing from 1701 was implemented. So I'm here today to be able to have the conversation, not of how to change 1701. 1701 is what it is. That is what we are going to be looking for as the basis for the end of this conflict. But what are the things that will have to be done in addition in order to make sure that it's implemented fairly, accurately, transparently, so that everybody knows the path that we're on? So I think that has the confidence that we have to give the governments of both governments here, Israel and Lebanon, the people on both sides of the border, and the international community that has to come in to support Lebanon. Look, at the end of this kind of devastation that Lebanon is facing now, there's going to have to be reconstruction, and there's going to have to be an economic rebuilding in Lebanon. The international community is committed to doing that. The United States is committed to doing that. We're going to have to support the LAF, because if we want the Lebanese armed forces, that is going to be the critical piece of this cessation of hostilities, of this conflict resolution. They're going to need the help of the international community. The army is able to protect Lebanon, its borders, its ports, its every part of the country. It's going to need help. But for us in the United States, for the American people, and for the rest of the world who's going to come in and support both the economic and the military in Lebanon, we have to know that this is not just going to another round of conflict in a month or a year or 2 years. And that's why 1701 as a public commitment is not good enough. So that's what I mean when I say we're going to have to work on a different, not even updating, it's 1701, but we have to put things in place that will allow for confidence that it's going to be implemented for everyone. I'll answer you. I will answer you. I will answer you. You're not going to like my answer. I'm going to negotiate with the government of Lebanon, and I'm going to try to do that in private in our meetings, and I won't go into negotiating the details of this.
Last question.
Mr. Hochstein, it looks like the Israelis are building a buffer zone in the south of Lebanon. Does the U.S. support that? And do you support, as Axios reported this morning, sort of active enforcement by Israel of South Lebanon, of 1701?
I am not going to comment on different reports in the media about different parts of different parties negotiating tactics or opening positions. We're going to have a substantive conversation with the government of Lebanon, with the government of Israel, about how best to bring about a cessation of hostilities to end this conflict, as I said before. And I'm going to try to do that in private and not debate this in public.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.